welcome in, once again, to the dungeon of the Doctors of Doom, where I'm your host, Alexis Shark Sparks, and joining me this week is Chris the Proctor Lee, the sponsor of the pod. Welcome in, Chris. Say hello to all the Delvers out there.
Good evening.
So Chris, I'll start off by apologizing. I was very late, but not as late as Vinny, who no-showed. So, there's that. No more World Cup to talk about, so we're going to have to come up with other things to talk about, which is why I brought on our chief golf correspondent for the pod for this. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, Chris, how have the world of sports been treating you over the last couple of weeks?
I mean, it's good to see a lot of the NFL news come out. I feel like after the World Cup hype, the sports media has definitely transitioned into people reporting for camp, some news around some players. I'm sure there's some stuff to talk about this week.
Yeah, news around players and news around coaches. A lot of coach stories this week.
Yeah, some that went underreported for sure.
Yeah, so I mean, do you want to dive in there? We can start talking with some NFL stories. Is that where you want to go right away, or?
Yeah, let's do it. We're supposed to be a football podcast, right?
We are. I mean, we may as well. We've been covering football, just not American football. So now let's get back to the real football, as it were. So we'll start with some coach stories. Big one that's been in the news lately, Kyle Shanahan decided to be on his phone, not be on his phone, depends on whose story you believe, while driving a motorized vehicle. Got himself in a crash that did a pretty good chunk of damage to him, to be honest. I think he nearly lost his eye, broken rib, hand. He's going to be limited in practice during training camp, and seeing as he's the coach, being limited is kind of a big deal as the coach, because they're not actually out there running drills.
Yeah, and he's one of those coaches who's very involved in the offense.
The one thing I will say in his credit, he was like, look, you shouldn't be on your phone when you're driving. This is why that's the law. The one thing I will say to his credit is, when the story broke, it broke incorrectly that the girl, it was like a 25-year-old girl, was the driver of the other car, was at fault. And he quickly came out and corrected it and said, no, I was at fault. Now, the police report already had him at fault, so it wasn't like he could have gotten away with it by keeping his mouth shut, but he was able to at least try to take some pressure off this person, because how people are in the world, they latch onto a story and they bully someone for no reason. So I will give him credit for coming out almost immediately and being like, no, that report's wrong. She was not at fault. I was. I do respect that. Now, still shouldn't have done it, but I at least respect him owning up to it, especially when it means trying to protect this other person that did nothing wrong.
Yeah, definitely the right move. I feel like it's the right move, so I'll applaud him for that. But it would have been real douchey not to.
It would have, and little peel back the curtain here, Chris. Being an injury lawyer as you are, would you be able to do something with that in a situation where the media is coming out and blaming this girl? If you were his lawyer, would you have been able to pull anything off with that story, or because the police report still had him at fault, he'd still be toast?
No. I think a good lawyer would have cleared that up just as quickly as he did. Who knows? Maybe he got advice from his lawyer.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. So that's the Shanahan story. I mean, obviously, thankfully, no one was seriously injured. I mean, he was injured and could have been very seriously injured, but he wasn't. So at the end of the day, everyone's okay. And it was like a 20-mile-per-hour crash, so it wasn't like he was going 60. Still unsafe to take your eyes off the road looking for a phone. He claims he dropped it. Others say he was on the phone. What the real answer was, we'll never know.
Distracted driving is distracted driving.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and if you're racing to pick up your phone, why do you need to pick it up, right? Unless you're trying to be on it.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to give that up. It's like the people who will almost miss a turn and still try to turn into it. It's like, no, you missed it. Just keep going, right? You can always just sort of deal with the
you're cutting across 2 lanes of traffic. It's like, just go another quarter mile to the next exit, bro. You'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, another injury story. This one a bit sadder. Eric Bieniemy back in the news. The assistant coach that never seems to get the head coaching job that people like Mitch think he deserves. And he's in the news because his son came home and shot his wife. Bieniemy's wife. Crazy story, and that one's getting like you mentioned, that one's getting like no press. No one's talking about that story. I remember that story broke like the day before the Shanahan story. The Shanahan story was all over ESPN. I don't remember saying anything about the enemy story.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I saw one thing on it, and I don't even know if it was from a sports media outlet. And then I haven't heard much about it, but I see on a quick search here, she's doing better. She's out of the ICU, which, thank goodness.
Yeah, yeah, I knew she was in intensive care. I did. That's good to hear that she's out. I hadn't heard that, but yeah, that's crazy. Like, I do you know, Chris? Because I don't know this. Was it the son's mother, or is this like Benjamin's like second wife, and they was like mad at his stepmom type situation? Do you know?
I have no idea, to
Okay,
be honest with you.
probably could have done more research before the pod. That's on me, guys. But uh, yeah, okay, it is her son. So yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy. You never know why. Um, is the son crazy? Did the parents do something to him and he was snapping back? Was it an accident? Like, obviously he's been arrested, but that's wild. Like, I can't imagine wanting to shoot anybody, but I really can't imagine wanting to shoot my mom.
Yeah, yeah. You just hope that it was an accident or something.
Yeah,
Maybe he was, fiddling with the gun or cleaning it or whatever. And it went off and, it's an accidental thing. I mean, a lot of gunshot wounds are accidental, right? So, um, but yeah, it's a
yeah,
huge bummer.
but it's hard from my standpoint though. It's like, yeah, but then why are you taking a gun to your parents' house in the first place? You know what I mean?
That's true.
That's
Yeah, that's true.
it'd be one thing like, oh, I'm going to a really bad neighborhood to meet this shady antiques dealer because he found something I was looking for. Like, okay, maybe you want to protect yourself. I'm going to this pawn shop, right? Like, okay, maybe you're packing in that scenario, but like, well, I'm going to the suburbs to see my parents. I don't think you need your nine for that. That's just me though. That's just me. I grew up on the mean streets of Palm Desert, so maybe I just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know. We don't know was it in Kansas City? We don't know what Kansas City is like. I've never been there. Maybe you just need to be, locked and loaded when you're out there.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, I guess we'll find out if any of us ever goes to a Chiefs game. We've been to Chiefs Raiders game, but they're in Las Vegas, so at least the town's nice while we get crushed.
Yeah.
Well,
And, all of this is alleged. Just gonna throw that out
that's true.
there.
We should. Well, he has been arrested. We'll throw out some allegedlys to be safe. But yeah. So speaking of, I mentioned my Raiders. Let's talk about your Cardinals for a second because you broke the news in our group chat of the strength of schedule going into the season. The teams with the hardest strength of schedule, and I have to imagine you weren't stoked about it.
No, I'm not. I mean, if there's so I'm a silver lining type of guy, glasses half full. I'm an optimist. I look at the world through, a lens that I think is trying to always shed a positive light. So, I'm not saying the season's over, but Archie Manning sweepstakes, here we come. All right. You take one of the worst rosters in the league, the team that waited the longest to hire a head coach, or one of the longest to hire a head coach, made some very questionable decisions even when they did hire a head coach. Uh, decided to name Jacoby Brissett the starter. And what you have is a recipe for the number one draft pick going into next year. Do I know if Archie Manning is declaring? Absolutely not. Will he stick around for, NIL, living the good life in Texas, because he doesn't want to go to Arizona with the first round draft pick? Maybe. I don't know. But guess what? We're in the sweepstakes, baby. So, I can't be mad about that. And I also, I after I saw that news, I also saw a video of Marvin Harrison Jr. in practice dropping a ball. So that was just right in the breadbasket. So that made me really happy as well.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Um, yeah. So as you can see here now on the chart that you sent, they were ranked at number one. That's probably based on what people think they're going to be. This is based on how the schedules were last year. So if you look based on their opponents from last year, Cardinals had the third hardest schedule, which is still really bad, right? But on the one you showed us, they had the first by a large margin. I imagine that's probably because it involves free agency and stuff, whereas this is purely based on last year. on the flip side of the coin, when you look at the teams that have easier strength of schedules, it is interesting when you look at some of these teams, Colts and Falcons. I mean, these were teams that just barely missed the playoffs. Like
Yeah,
the Falcons were tied for the best record in their division, right? The Colts were not tied, but I think like they were close to the wild card. You know what I mean? Like these are two teams that were absolutely in the hunt, and they have the easiest strength of schedule. And then you look at, say, Dolphins Cardinals, who were nowhere close to the hunt, and look at how difficult their schedule is.
yeah.
Which you always wonder about it too, because like I kind of assume the Cardinals was just because of their division, because when they're making the schedule, they pair divisions against each other. So like when they're in the division with both the Seahawks and the Rams, who are two playoff teams, one being the Super Bowl winner, I get why they might have a difficult schedule, but it's interesting to see them here and none of the other NFC West teams in that top five.
That is a good point, but maybe Arizona brings down the average against those three others so much that they end up in the middle of the pack,
True, true.
right? Like if Arizona has the obviously the Hawks,
They do get to play Arizona
Niners,
twice
the
as well. I
Rams.
guess that is worth
Yeah,
noting.
it's like that is what jacks up theirs. But then when you throw Arizona in the mix with two of those other teams, it makes it like an average league, I guess. Um, you know, that's what might be the situation.
Yeah, so here's the full rankings if you want to see where your team stands. My Raiders not doing that much better
Yeah.
than your
Well,
Cards, to be
well,
honest
like
with you.
you look at the NFC, it's like sorry, AFC West, and they're all down there, right? Broncos,
Yeah, Chiefs is down here, Raiders is down here,
Raiders, Chargers. So like that's a
Chargers,
division where I
Broncos.
think you're looking at a lot of, four pretty competitive teams. I know people won't say that about the Raiders, um, but I think they're more competitive than the Cardinals, and I think they will be this coming
Yeah, but I
year.
mean, look, Eagles and Jaguars are division winners, right? And they're 10
Yeah.
and 11. Like that, like what's that about? You know what I mean? Texans were a
Yeah,
playoff
yeah.
team. They're 7. So, but
But
again,
think
that
about it, if
like
they're
you said,
division winners,
part of it is like because you're the best team in your division, you don't have to play yourself.
right?
So that definitely helps. Definitely helps. Yeah, so I know that was kind of a bit of a pivot from the coaching news, but there was a good segue there based on what we were talking about, Raiders cards and whatnot. But let's see, what other NFL news did I have? Oh, one other. I guess I've got I've got some quarterback news. You want to move to quarterbacks now?
Sure.
All right, so we're going to start with the one that I really wish Mitch could have been here. Aaron Rodgers has announced this will be his last season in the NFL.
Mm.
No, this time there's no more debating it, no more waffling, no back and forth. He's telling us right now up front, this is the final year. So my question to you, Chris, is do you believe him?
Purely based on age, I'm gonna say yes. Like if you had to give me, if I was a betting man, purely based on age, I would say yes. Um, but who knows? But yeah, I mean, if you're saying $100 one way or the other, I'm gonna say it is his last year. I mean, he looks like a shell of himself right now.
Oh no, he absolutely does, but it's not about what he can do; it's about what he believes he can do, right? So I guess it's more about do you think he believes it? Because Brady retired and then came back, right? So like he obviously got the itch to play. Do you think there's going to be any itch to play for Rodgers, or do you think he's truly done so? Because I'm surprised he came back when the coach walked away.
I
To be
am as
honest,
well.
so
I hadn't heard that he had planned to come back this year. I thought he was probably done after last year.
he
So
reported to training camp, surprisingly enough, for the Steelers.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's interesting.
yeah, I didn't see that coming. Because he's normally the kind of guy who doesn't show up to training camp even when he is playing.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess again, I keep giving credit for people. To his credit, maybe he really is all in on his last year.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't see him at least returning to the Steelers next year. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised he came back this year. Yeah, it's going to be a matter of at the end of the season, how does his body feel? Because if he still feels like he can do it, and there's a team that wants him that is a contender in some form or fashion. I'm not saying they're like a top dog, but has the chance to compete. I feel like he's the kind of competitive person that may want to run it back. But based on how poorly he's played, he might find because I don't think in his mind he's ever going to think I'm not good enough anymore. It's going to be about whether or not he thinks his body can do it, right? Which exactly. I'm not knocking him for that, by the way. Like, in order to be a great player, you have to believe you're the best. If you don't have that mindset, you're not going to be any good. Like, there's a reason that a lot of the greats had that mindset of I am the best player out here and I'm going to school you, even when they were past their prime.
I mean, I agree with that mindset, but Aaron Rodgers to me also seems like introspective enough, or like he knows his body well enough, or like that he's not gonna like come back just because he thinks he can compete. I think he's the type of person that will maybe like listen to his body and his mind, does all those crazy hallucinogens and, does all the journeys. I don't know what you call them. But, I feel like he's the type of person who would at least be able to like look inside and say like, yeah, maybe I feel like I can do it, but I don't think my body's going to hold up, or that he's not performing to the level that he wants to. But maybe I'm wrong. He's got a huge ego.
See, I'm going to say, Chris, I think because of the ego, I don't think the performance is really going to play into it. Because I think if he performs poorly, he's going to tell himself, I should go again because I don't want my last season to be like that because I'm still good. Whereas if his body gives out on him, that's the one that I think can break that mindset of a lot of people when your body gives out. But we'll see. Yeah. Look, for Mitch's sake, hopefully the Steelers are good and we get to, look, don't get me wrong, I'm not an Aaron Rodgers fan just because I think he's kind of Looney Tunes and, in his interactions. But, if you told me Aaron Rodgers was going to go out and throw for 4,500 yards and 40 touchdowns, I'd sign up to watch that. It's fun to watch. You know what I mean? For the last 6-7 years, you've been throwing checkdowns. I'd love to see him throw the ball.
I was about to say, he just doesn't have the same zip on the ball.
Yeah. So, don't see it happening, but I wouldn't count it out for him coming back, and also, wouldn't mind if he was good, but we'll see. I wasn't meant to be knocking A-Rod. I just saw that story and wanted to bring it up. All right, 2 more QB stories. Baker playmaker and the Buccaneers could not come to a contract agreement, and Baker has said, once training camp starts, I'm done negotiating. I'm just going to play out my final year of the deal. Who do you think dropped the ball more here? Do you think the Bucs dropped the ball by not paying him, or do you think that Baker is taking on a huge risk by not getting paid now? Obviously, they weren't offering him the money he felt he deserved, because this past season, not as great, but the 2 prior to that, he was a world beater. He was one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league 2 years in a row coming into this past season. So he thinks he deserves to be paid more because he was playing on a much lower contract, obviously. So I understand his standpoint, but also now he's kind of risking it going in. What if he has a bad year and that's 2, I'd say a medium year and a bad year back-to-back on the downward slide, no longer under contract? Do you think he's taking too big of a risk by not signing, or do you think the Bucs are taking too big of a risk that he's going to go out, be that guy he was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and potentially lose him?
So I'm not going to answer your question directly. I love this move by Baker.
Okay.
He is a bet on himself type of guy.
Absolutely.
The locker room guy. He's the energy guy. And I think that he's just betting on himself. And, I think that's like I don't want to say respectable, but I just love that he's doing that, because he's basically saying, I am feeling disrespected and I'm just going to go out. I'm going to ball out again. Who knows if he does or he doesn't, but I think him taking this road says a lot more about how he views himself as a quarterback. And that's what I at least would want to see in my quarterback, right? The guys who end up like pillaging these teams, off a couple good years and then sign into huge contracts, and then like they get locked in for however many years and then they don't perform the way they used to. I think that's like the way worst way to go. And so I love this move by Baker. I like what he's doing. Now to answer your question, Alex, I personally think that Baker's going to play well. I think he's got that, that dog in him. I think he's going to step up. I think this will probably motivate him some. So I think he's probably gonna end up on top, but you know, you're right. He has a bad year, and all of a sudden, it might be hard for him to find a job. But there's so many teams looking for quarterbacks, man. I can't see him not, even if he doesn't re-sign with the Bucks. I can't see him not landing somewhere else.
Yeah, he's still early 30s. A lot of quarterbacks go to 35 plus, so there's definitely at least one more 3-year deal left in him, kind of at peak performance, so
So,
to speak.
like, yeah.
And like you said, he is a big team guy.
Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good. He is a big team guy. All of his teammates love him. So I think that is where the Bucks might be taking a risk here, because I understand what your standpoint of this way they're not getting suckered into a bad deal. I totally get that. There have been some guys who've kind of pulled that off. I would argue that Baker isn't really trying to pull that off. Not that the other guy were, they just took advantage of it, because like he's been good anytime he's been given the opportunity. He was just not given the opportunity. Like he was the best quarterback Cleveland's had in 30 years, and they just got rid of him, right? So it wasn't like he was bad in Cleveland when he left. And then he had a couple stopovers that don't really count. But anyway, the point that I'm making is, you're sending a bad message to your team when you don't take care of your quarterback. When you're like, hey, this guy's came and balled out for you and worked hard for you, and now you've let Mike Evans walk. You're not paying Baker. Like, you're not sending the right message to your team when your veteran captain players are not being taken care of. And I understand the financial reasons for
Absolutely.
I understand the financial reasons for not paying Mike Evans. He's an older player. He's been hurt 3 years in a row. I understand the financial reasons for not wanting to give your quarterback $50 million a year because you type so much money into QB. But when you look at the message it sends to your team and the potential future of your team, because like you said, if Baker goes out and balls out this year without Mike Evans, and then gets an offer to go play somewhere else and he leaves, you're so hosed if you're the Bucks, because you don't have a good draft pick if you've made the playoffs with Baker, and your quarterback's walked. And they could franchise tag him, but if you're franchise tagging him, then you're paying him max money anyway. I will say, to be fair to the Bucks, I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
I don't know
I
what
mean,
they
I-
offered
I'm with
Baker
you
that he
there.
turned down. So I will say that. We're saying it's an insulting offer. For all I know, they came out and offered him $60 million, and he said no. Now, I don't think that's the case. I think that story would have broken if that was the case. But just to be fair to the Bucks, I don't know what they offered him, so I'm not saying it was like an insulting offer or something.
Sure. But at the same time, I don't see like Baker as someone who's trying to get like a huge bag and is being like completely selfish about it. I mean, and that's just speculation based on the way he plays. Like the dude will pick up the extra yard even if it means, going in for a hard hit. And so in my mind, like I can't see him being like this guy who just wants a ton of money, and get paid for what he's done in the past. But like you said, who knows, right? I'm just saying, like, I mean, you're talking about a league with, Jacoby Brissett starting for the Cardinals, um, you know, the Falcons quarterback competition, even though Michael Penix Jr. I think is injured, is Penix Jr., Tua Tagovailoa. Like, you've got Geno Smith, J.J. McCarthy in there. Like, I just don't understand what you're doing if you're the Bucks by not getting a deal done.
Yeah, I mean, there's here, let me paint a picture for you, Chris. Baker goes out and balls out this season. Kyler Murray is not the answer in Minnesota, and then next year Minnesota comes calling with a super talented roster that just needs a QB. You telling me Baker is not willing to leave the team that wouldn't pay him to go to Minnesota, even if it's for less money, to go to that situation and try to win?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was about to say, if they've got better pieces and Baker feels like he can win, I can see him doing that.
Like, obviously, I don't know how the draft's going to play out, right? But like, as it is right now on paper, they have a better wide receiving core, a better defense, and I'll say the Bucks probably have a better running game, but 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Special teams are in a dome, so you got to
Yeah.
give the advantage to Minnesota for that, just because they're indoors. All right. One last QB story then for you here. Christopher, the last QB story that I had is on the tip of my tongue. Give me 1 second. Back to the Raiders. Kirk Cousins has been named the starter in camp over Mendoza. On one hand, it's like, okay, makes sense. You brought in the veteran. You want to bring the rookie along. On the other hand, this was the number 1 overall draft pick. So, in your opinion, now I know it's just training camp, but in your opinion, by the time we get to week 1 of the season, is it Cousins or Mendoza starting for the Raiders? And if it is Cousins, do you think that is a mistake / a bad reflection on Mendoza that he couldn't win the job?
No. I actually think it's the right move to start the veteran. Uh, I get the Mendoza thing, but I think it's been proven time and time again. These guys need a little bit of time. And you guys have talked about Mendoza on this podcast. He's not a world beater, right? Like, he's got a great attitude. He makes some pretty accurate throws, but it's not like he is the number 1 quarterback prospect that has been coming out of college in the last decade, right? So you've got Kirk Cousins, who's experienced, who is a great quarterback, and he starts it, and I think you give Kirk Cousins some amount of leash, and obviously, depending on how Cousins plays, you always have Mendoza in the wings ready to start. But I think it's great for Mendoza to just sort of understand the pace of the game, get used to everything you have to get used to, from when the season starts, getting through the week, walkthroughs, game day, all of that stuff. And then I think he comes in whenever he does, Mendoza that is, I think he's in better shape than if you just throw him to the Wolves week 1. And by the way, you couldn't have asked for and I don't know, these guys are obviously very competitive. They're professional athletes. So who knows how fierce the competition is in the quarterback room. But at least, their personas and, the way they portray themselves, to the rest of the world.
Uh-huh.
You couldn't have asked for 2 nicer guys,
Yeah.
right? And I think that, this is one of those situations where it won't be toxic.
Yeah. No, I don't think it'll be toxic at all. I just, just curious, if that sends, because, it's one of those where if he was drafted 23rd and he's sitting behind the veteran, everyone's like, that's great. I mean, look, it worked out great for Patrick Mahomes. He was drafted in the first round, but it was a later pick. He didn't start until the last game of the season. Then the second year he took over the job, and it's been great. No, I'm not comparing Mendoza and Mahomes. I'm talking that scenario. No one was like, I can't believe Alex Smith is starting, right? No one said that. If anything, they're like, wow, I can't believe Mahomes ended up getting the job after Alex Smith had such a good year, right? Whereas in this scenario, it's like Cousins is coming off a couple of bad years where he's a backup, and now he's getting the job over Mendoza, and Mendoza was the number 1 overall pick. So it's like, oh no, does this mean he's not ready and they reached for him? Yes, that's totally what it means, but I don't want to believe that because I'm a Raider fan, but I know that's what it means. Or is this just like, hey, we're going to play it safe and be smart about things? Because let's face it, no one's ever safe and smart about things in the NFL.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm hoping for the latter. I mean, look at what the quarterbacks of this newer generation have done, right? I mean, you've got Sam Darnold, right? Sucked, and then came back to life. Geno Smith, had a rough start and then found something. I mean, he obviously doesn't have anything right now, but you look at these Baker. I mean, he played great in Cleveland, but I think you have these quarterbacks who are drafted early, and they get thrown into the first game. There's high expectations. They can't execute. They can't deliver. And then all of a sudden, you have this wasted draft pick. So I'm hoping the Raiders see that, and this is all somewhat intentional. But who knows?
Yeah, fair enough. I will say, like, I do think it's the right decision. I would much prefer he get to ride the. I mean, Eli Manning was technically the number one overall pick and then traded, but you know what I mean. Like these high pick QBs, and he didn't start right away, right? Kurt Warner did. Now I will say, you know, Kirk Cousins, maybe not the same caliber of player at the time, but I don't have an issue with it from like a personal standpoint as far as like this being a smart move and a good way for a player to learn. My only concern is because it's so normalized to rush the number one overall pick out there, the fact that we aren't even pretending like we're doing that, it just makes you wonder in the back of your mind. Like I said, I hope it's the latter. I hope it's like, hey, Raiders we're being smart with our number one pick. We're going to let them learn before we throw them to the Wolves because we have no offensive line. That is absolutely the smart play. I'd like to believe we're making the smart play. I've watched Raider football long enough to know that that's not what we're doing.
That's interesting. You know, it's... I also saw Mendoza as a guy that I thought would develop into a quarterback in the NFL. Didn't see him as a day one starter.
You same. So yeah, exactly. He in another draft he might be the fifth or sixth quarterback taken.
Yeah.
So he shouldn't. We need to change our expectations, and if the Raiders can be smart about it and not treat him like a number one overall pick, if they can treat him like an early second rounder, which is what he probably should have been, then we've got a chance. But if we try to treat him like a number one overall pick, I don't know that he's going to be able to catch up and learn fast enough. We'll see. We will see. Hopefully we found the diamond in the rough because we've been losing for a long time. All right. I do have one other story I'd like to talk about, but it's not NFL, it's NCAA, but it's still football. So do you have any other NFL stories you want to talk about before I move to a different version of football?
No, I think you covered it.
All right, so then we're gonna hard pivot here to the NCAA football. They are now allowing, I don't know if you knew this, Chris, corporate patch sponsorships as of January, so as of this year. Corporate patch sponsorships. You can have a corporate sponsor on the jersey, just like NASCAR has all those corporate sponsors all over their NASCARs. You can now have a patch. 2 teams so far have inked deals. Who do you think was the first team to ink a deal? Unless you already know, but
If I saw correctly, was it the Ohio State University?
correct. Ohio State was the first team to ink a deal. However, the new record for biggest deal has now been broken, which, again, there's only a couple teams that have deals so far, but who do you think has now set the record for the biggest patch deal?
Ooh. Bama or Georgia?
Nope. Notre Dame. Notre
Okay,
Dame.
that was going
That's
to be
the
my
word.
second guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They have inked a $17 million deal with SoFi. That's right, SoFi, the stadium sponsors of the LA teams, are paying $17 million to put a patch on the Notre Dame jersey. So this good old Catholic school in the Midwest is now rocking SoFi corporate sponsors. Yeah. We're going in the wrong direction. We really are, Chris. Because, I mean, they're already printing money. Did they really need this?
I mean, these college players have to be demanding money. Someone's got to pay it.
We both know
The boosters
this
can't
money's
keep
not
up.
going to players.
Who knows, man? Maybe the boosters got sick of paying out some of these players, and now they're trying to claw back some of that money.
I want to see if it'll even tell us. I don't know if there's like, because a lot of the money's still under the table, but the highest paid college football player is 6.5 mil. So 17 will more than cover that. Good for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ohio State is it's Chase Bank, right? J.P. Morgan Chase.
Yeah, they're playing $5 million to a wideout, so their patch deal more than covers that. They can cover a few players, so good for them. Good for them. They really needed that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna love seeing all the jerseys with the corporate sponsors. It's gonna be great.
I know, right? I can't wait for them to start introducing them as the Notre Dame SoFi Fighting Irish. You know what I mean? The So Fighting Irish. Oh, it sells itself right there, Chris. You can already combine them.
Boom, baby.
The So Fighting
Combine the
Irish.
logos.
Let's go. I don't know who is Ohio State's corporate sponsor. Let me see.
It's J.P. Morgan Chase.
Is it okay? I don't know if we can do anything with that one, but maybe the Buckeye can start wearing blue for the Chase logo.
Just have a huge credit card on him at all times.
Oh yeah, running around with a credit card and spinning around like one of those sign guys. You know what I'm talking about? Oh man, that's pretty good. All right, those were my stories for the day, Chris. I wanted to, like you said, I wanted to kind of get back into the world of football because we have moved on from the World Cup. Basketball's not really happening right now. Baseball is just past the All-Star break, so not really important games happening. No hockey right now, so really the dead zone of summer. But we are getting close to the draft. About probably a month or so away from football season, so not too much time left to burn. So did you have any other sporting news, football or otherwise, that have come across your desk in the last week, or even since the last time you were on, that you wanted to talk about?
I'll just give everybody the golf update. This actually made
Sure.
headlines, but congratulations to Jackson Coyven out of Auburn. Won the NCAA 2 months ago.
War Eagle.
Won every award in college golf. Declared that he was going to turn pro, and then won this past weekend by beating Scotty Scheffler, the number one golfer in the world, by three or four strokes, I think, and won his first tournament. It was his third professional start, and he walked home with a bag of like 1.8 million.
Dude looks like a child.
It's crazy.
Looks like a little kid out there. Yeesh. But yeah, he's balling. Good for him. Good. You got to get it while getting's good. You know what I mean? Like and you never have to win again if you're smart with that first purse, right? So
Yeah, like War Eagle, I guess, right? I mean, he I mean, I don't follow college golf too much, but I know he dominated while he was at Auburn. So, it was just a matter of time, I guess. And yeah, we'll see if he can keep it up. There have been flashes in the pan. And then some of these players, they struggle for a long time. They end up at the Korn Ferry Tour, which is a level below the PGA Tour. So, my hope for him is that he continues to play well and, stays away from injury. I think he's an exciting prospect, and he could certainly help Team USA win in the Ryder Cup, where we've been getting whooped by the Europeans for about the last 6 years.
interesting. Grew up in San Jose, moved to North Carolina, then went to Auburn.
Yeah, I did know he was a San Jose native. Yeah, that's right.
Because I was wondering about that. I was like, that's weird. Like I don't think of like Alabama as a great place to play golf. I mean, no shade to Alabama. I like it here, but it's not when I think of premier golf courses, I don't think Alabama. So good for him. Good for him.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's it from my golf corner. Thank you for dealing with me on that one. Other sporting news. This is just a passing commentary. I was sitting at a bar, and don't worry, it wasn't like a sad bar. It was like a lively bar. I was having lunch with a friend.
I like how you had to like immediately defend yourself. Like, did you think we were gonna come at you for that?
And I'm just gonna cricket was on, and my God, that is the most confusing sport I've ever seen.
Dude, I've tried to watch it. It is. I want to get into it because I think it could be fun, but man, it's confusing.
It's rough, dude.
People watch Europeans watch American football and they're like, oh man, there's so many rules. It's like, dude, you guys have cricket. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, that's like, I couldn't figure out what was going on. Like, you as the pitcher, you got to hit one of the sticks behind the batter, but the batter is allowed to crowd the sticks. And so I'm like, how the hell is he supposed to hit the sticks? The at bats go for like 30 minutes.
Oh man. And you gotta you gotta throw it into the ground and bounce it. It's like it's not even like a normal like pitch.
Yeah. And then I guess when you do hit it and like they're trying to get the ball back to the pitcher, like you just run back and forth, like you just do shuttle sprints, and that's how you like gain points.
Yeah, because there's no bases, so you're basically just doing the sprints like you do on a basketball court.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, we're in the doldrum of sports, and cricket was on, so I tried to give it a try, but I don't think I'm gonna be a cricket fan anytime soon.
Well, I mean, we are coming up on the Ocho, right? Isn't it? That's about 9 days away, right? Isn't it August 8th when they do the Ocho?
What's the Ocho?
ESPN 8, where they put on obscure sports, just like from the movie Dodgeball.
Do they only do that one day?
Yeah, they do it one day a year.
No, I didn't. I didn't realize that. And I'm here on a sports podcast talking. Oof.
August 6th through 9th, yeah. So it's coming up. It's coming up. They're going to do 3 days worth, I guess, of the Ocho, where all the ESPN content are going to be showing kind of different things. I mean, some of it's going to be more normalized now, like Banana Ball, which it's weird to call that normalized, but Banana Ball is on ESPN all the time, and it is entertaining. But you also have corgi racing. Let's see. There's some of the events coming up. If it'll say Big League Wiffle Ball, Donk Toss, Turf Wars Kickball, Roof Ball, Combat Archery All-Stars, the Housekeeping Games, that'll be fun, the Pop Darts Championship, Pop-A-Shot, Slippery Stairs, oh man, Slippery Stairs, I can't wait for that one, and more. So, we got some new sports coming out this year as well. Wow, look at this. Fire Department Racing, no idea what that's supposed to be. But yeah, so if you are bored of the bored of mainstream sports that aren't happening right now, the Ocho is for you. So coming up in about a week, tune in to ESPN and their networks. Free plug there for Disney. Check out the Great Bahamian Crab Races. You know what I mean?
Slippery Stairs sounds awesome.
I gotta ask you, Chris, what do you think two goalies all goalie game is?
Two goalies all goalie?
Yeah, what is this? Is it like only hockey goalies? There's two people in the goal? Like, what are we doing here?
What if it's just like hockey goals set up in a circle, and you have to tend and also try to score?
Yeah, I mean, could be hockey, could be soccer, could be field hockey for all I know. All I know is just two goalies and all goalies.
It's sounds like we're gonna have to tune in and come to the pod ready to talk about some Ocho sports.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I hope that I have time to watch some of it because I think it'll be fun to watch.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I think that's all I got for today. Definitely a shorter episode, but we got a little bit of a late start, and like I said, there's not a ton of news to talk about. I mean, there's some exciting stuff coming up, but we're not there yet. So, unless you have anything else, I think I'm gonna wrap it.
Yeah, that's good hearing from you. Hi to all the Delvers out there. It was nice being on for a little bit.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here, especially since I didn't have to do it by myself. That would have sucked. Sorry again for being late. Thank you to the Delvers for listening, and we've had a few really long episodes in a row, so now you get to enjoy a short one. Thanks for being here, and now I'm going to play us out. Peace.